This is Live Bet Saturday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We open this hour with a report of murder out at Augusta. The victim, Rory McIlroy's tee shot. He smoked that thing in a very positive way, by the way. About 340 yards on a par 5. He then laces his iron and has I would judge about, 6 to 10 foot in that range putt for eagle right now. So if he does, obviously, sink this thing, this is going to be massive for his status as the odds-on favorite. Corey Connors is going to leave a birdie putt short. Come on, you can't do that, man. Isn't he in the same group with Rory? You know what's in front of you. You know what he's doing. How are you going to leave it short? Go for it, man. Either way, Rory is definitely putting himself in position to, we'll say, put the foot on the throat of the field. The market believes so as well. He is now minus 340 to win this thing. Bryson DeChambeau at 950. Corey Connors at 12-1. As I say that, DeChambeau goes down to 850. And Rory is not going to make this eagle putt because he now dips to minus 300. So again, dude, Rory's got to be kicking himself here a little bit. Oh no, he sinks the eagle. So why does that go down to minus 300 from minus 340? Was that not? No, he takes a 4-stroke lead over Corey Connors, and yet market thought minus 340 was a little high, I guess. So he is a $3 favorite with a 4-stroke lead over the second-place golfer. Will, I ask you, and we will hold you to this and mock you if it is incorrect, is this over?
I think it's over.
Okay, please, pull that. That's it.
What about you? You think it's over?
No, it's totally not over at all, and I think anybody can win this thing. But I believe that Rory McIlroy is the most probable champion of the Masters.
There you go.
And it's pretty simple.
That's what if you're of a certain age, you used to watch like the NBA draft, NFL draft. It used to be so much more interesting because before freezing cold takes and social media, people would say, "Oh, terrible pick! How could you pick that guy?" Now everyone's just afraid to declare anything, so everyone just kind of golf claps every pick. But no, I think Rory's in good shape. This would be he's at the point now where this would be a devastating loss if he was not able to finish it. But look, we've seen guys blow 5-6 shot leads. This is a course that there's a lot of variance. It can be very feast or famine. So we've seen guys choke it up on Sundays before. So I'm couching my statement a little bit, but I do feel like Rory's in good shape to win this.
I believe Will Hill just called me a pansy.
No.
For lack of a better term.
No.
It's okay. It's all right. I think it's all done. It's over with. Look, I'm with you. I think you put it really well in that this would be one of the more catastrophic losses we'll see in somebody, especially given the narrative for Rory, right, and the times and what we have seen from time to time. Like, this would be pretty wild if he was going to let go of the rope here with 4 strokes up on Connors heading in to the 16th hole. Now, what's interesting, as you have noted and we have seen today, the 18th has given guys some problems throughout the course of this tournament. Yesterday was a little bit of an issue. We did see a couple of guys par it out, although Pat Reed, I always go to Fat Pat initially because that's what Matt Humans calls him, but Pat Reed did birdie the final hole to get to 69 for the round today. So we'll see, because that's going to be something. But how about this? 2 eagles today for Rory McIlroy, tied for the most in a major career for him. So how about that? 2 eagles in the round today for Rory. We're waiting to see what he's going to do here, but 18, we'll keep an eye on that as he heads into the final few holes.
I believe one other thing from a betting perspective, Rory and Zach Johnson are dead heated for the lowest round of round 3 with about 3 rounds to play. About 3 holes to play.
That would be correct. Let's double check. I'll double check to see if we have that accurate right now. For those who had missed it,
fact check me. You'll just let me say whatever I want, and then we'll just let it go. If it's not right, it's
what it is. I'm looking out for you. Really, is what it is at this point right now. Let's see. You are correct. So both are at 6 under. Zach Johnson, though, done for the day. So obviously, should Rory get another one here and move to 13 under for the tournament, then, of course, that would mean that he is ahead of Zach Johnson for the low round today. I think that's how math works.
Plus 375, plus 400. Was he in that range? I'm putting you on the spot. I think that was the number I saw for lowest score of the round.
You are putting me on the spot, and I'll say that sounds about right.
Okay.
I'm going to check these because Data Golf does a good job, right? We're waiting to see. Data Golf has yet to account for the eagle here. Before the eagle, Rory was a 51.2% to win this according to Data Golf, so I can't wait to see how his odds spike to win this thing according to their predictive model you can find up on their site. But all right, good for Rory. We'll keep our eye on it, but right now a little less drama as we head in here to the home stretch of the third round.
Is there value on the minus 300?
I think you can make the argument, yes. I was actually somewhat surprised. We were talking about again. I mean, in fact, he's actually dipping now to minus 275.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he's going to have a completely errant tee shot here to completely fall apart, the odds of him winning this thing, it is pretty strong. Especially, I mean, here's the other part, too, because to make some observation about some of the other guys around him. For example, Bryson DeChambeau, my brother in Christ, like, play with a little more touch on some of these irons, right? Like, he's just meatballing these things, and it's great. He's strong. He's awesome. But his play in terms of the approach has kind of killed him throughout today, and it's caused him to just kind of be stuck in this moment where he's at 7 under par. We talked about Corey Connors, who we're about to watch here, I think, on this tee shot in 16. But Connors has made a lot of damage, or done a lot of damage, with his putter today. As we know, Justin Rose is a great example of it. Putter not really something that carries through from round to round. So you're going to be able to keep that up as you head into the next round. And if those two things manifest, well, then all of a sudden you're looking at Rory, who I think does have a manageable type of game that he's going to be able to maintain as he heads into Sunday. So I think you can make that argument, and I am surprised to see the market go from minus 340 since before we saw the birdie go down to now minus 275.
And most of these books, not that I'm advising, most of these books will let you parlay if you're just like, oh, I don't want to lay the minus 275, even though if you're going to parlay it, you're still laying the price. People don't think they're laying the juice when they parlay it with stuff. Most of these books will let you parlay it. Say you like the Warriors to win the game tomorrow, or somebody that's a small favorite, a sizable favorite, whatever. If you're one of these people that needs to see a plus sign or doesn't want to lay the minus 275, even though you're laying it anyway, I do think that most of these books let you parlay that if that's the route you want to go, which I wouldn't recommend. If you like the minus 275, I would say just lay it, but I'm sure people will be enticed to say, oh, man, I don't want to lay minus 275. Let me parlay it with the Warriors or the Dodgers tonight or whatever. So
well, to your,
that is go ahead.
No, I was just saying to your point, like not even just the Warriors, but as we talk about how to approach the last day of the NBA regular season, if like the money line parlay is going to be, I think, the favored weapon of most for the NBA card. And so tying in these teams that have to win with something like that, I think a lot of people might be interested in doing it. So pairing Rory up with a Timberwolves, Warriors, and Kings money line parlay, I'm sure you might see quite a few of those.
I'd stay away from the Warriors one. I would stick to the teams that are just playing opponents that are tanking.
Oh, yeah.
And have no interest in winning the Minnesota-Utah game and games like that. And just, look, it's obviously not going to be the same payout, but minus 275 with Rory with some of these big money line favorites in the NBA, now you're talking about a more reasonable price. Yes,
and a quick note for, not that I think, because I know that the Clippers are going to beat that team tomorrow, but just, an example of what you could potentially see there. In that. All right, so let me ask you, we've talked about this Warriors game, which, by the way, totals down to like 219 and a half. How do you approach the last day of the regular season? You said you've been pretty interested in this. Will the moneyline parlay be the way that you attack the last day of the regular season?
I'll probably look at it as long as it's reasonable. Now, some of these lines are so ridiculous where you don't want to have a 3 or 4 team parlay where you're getting 50 cents on the dollar, but I couldn't argue with it. Some of these teams that are just completely mailing it in, I think that you'll be good to do that. The question, you'll know this better than me, where do you draw the line? Where do you stop? Who of the dogs tomorrow is going to be live? Now, it's hard because we don't have all of these in front of us, but like the Nuggets against the Rockets, does that count? Does the Grizzlies against the Mavs? Like, who would you not include in this?
Well, that's the problem where you look at some of these teams. Eastern Conference is all set, and actually, like there's not that many opportunities for you here, is I think what we're saying, right? Because all of the games are in the Western Conference. So, for example, as we got the news today, for those who weren't with us, the Mavericks are resting everybody. They are solidifying their spot in the 10 seed. Nobody's going to play for Dallas. So Grizzlies are up to an 11.5-point favorite. We don't know yet what the status of the Rockets players are going to be. That is the big wild card because the Rockets have not played their starters since Sunday. And will they allow that to happen? Let's assume that the Rockets rest everybody. You'll have another massive favorite for the Nuggets on the road. Then you're parlaying these big favorites, Nuggets, Grizzlies, Kings, and that's pretty much where you stand right now in Timberwolves. And you're still probably, what are we talking about there? Laying somewhere in the range of nearly like a minus 115 maybe on a 4-leg moneyline parlay.
I'm just looking at it right now. Rory, who's back up to minus 300. The Timberwolves and the Kings, minus 185. So, is that really worth it?
Right, exactly.
Maybe, but I don't know.
Let's see. The Data Golf model really quickly did just update. So they have this at minus 257 for Rory to win this thing. They put him at a 72% chance to win. Seem low?
It's about right.
So I guess
what do you think?
It's in line with the market, so maybe that's why we saw the those that were shaping the market, or at least putting those numbers up. DraftKings bounced back from minus 340 to minus 275, but now about minus 300 here. So maybe I would assume maybe someone took a nibble at minus 275 because it's back up to minus 300 for Rory. And currently, if you like that model, minus 257 the price for them. What's up?
I don't look at any of this and say, you know what, this is woefully mispriced. I really don't.
No, I would generally agree with that. There's nothing that really sticks out. You could probably, what you're really starting to do now from a betting perspective, and you'll probably dive into this once the round is over. What you do now, I think, is start to dive into these top 5s and top 10s and try to pick off some of these guys that you think can make a run and get into the back end of this, and maybe look at some prices there. Like a Ludwig Aberg, for example, ended this round really well. He's minus 110 to finish top 5. If you think he can make a push there and go about it in that fashion, I think that's what you're starting to attack in between rounds at this point right now, because I wouldn't be rushing to grab a Bryson DeChambeau or Corey Connors if this maintains in terms of a 4-stroke lead for Rory, or even better.
Yeah, and the problem with that, though, it's not, most books are not going to offer a two-way market, so the hold on that stuff is pretty high, but your point is certainly well taken.
Yep. All right, we're watching Justin Rose. He is through 14 on the 15th right now, trying to maybe get back into this thing, but seems very unlikely for the Brit, as that will not be the case. We got some late night baseball. We'll get into those games and a little bit more here on Live Bet Saturday when we return.
Saturday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
As we wait for this round to wind down, we're going to hit baseball too. We got some late games. If you're just kind of getting in your car, haven't had the pulse of what's going on in the sports world today, we should note one of the big news nuggets in football. Tennessee started quarterback Nico Iamaleava away from the team now. All done. Apparently, Tennessee is moving on from him. This came down a few hours ago, but if you're not privy to what is going on, he apparently wanted a new NIL deal, somewhere in the range of like $1.4 million, and it looks like Tennessee and Josh Heupel said, "See you later, you scoff, Will."
Look, most people are in favor of these kids getting paid. I would agree with that. There's got to be some sort of structure to this. It just can't be the wild, wild west in terms of, all right, you're going to give me this money, now I want more. If not, I'm going here. I'm going to go to my 3rd, 4th, 5th different school. I mean, is it not out of control with, he was horrible last year. He was awful. He made some of the worst decisions you'll ever see. What he did at the end of the Arkansas game, all of his numbers were against Cream Puff. So for him with a straight face to say, you know what, I'm going to need some more money. That's $2 million I'm making is not enough. It's just ridiculous. But is this not out of control at this point?
You hit it on the head. So I actually think it's fair if he wanted to come back and ask for some more money. Had he, won the Heisman, led Tennessee to the college football playoff or the national championship or anything like that. I actually needed to make them to the college football playoff, excuse me. They were not very competitive in the college football playoff, but they
weren't there long.
Yeah, they weren't there long. But had they achieved some sort of unachieved height prior, and he had some sort of season in which it was great, then of course I think it's fair to ask in a business like that for more money. But to ask for more money after doing your job terribly, something I do every summer when my contract is up with VSiN, that is something that you probably should not do. And I think that's where you kind of get into the ridiculous nature of what the hell, and who's talking to him? Who's telling him that this is hey, Nico, you gotta go. You gotta tell him that you ain't playing unless you're getting more money. For what?
I know. I don't know. USC, UCLA would be, I guess, some possible destinations. Here's the thing. Somebody's going to give him some money because there's just not a lot of quarterbacks out there. We'll see we'll see what Tennessee does for a quarterback. I've heard Diego Pavia's name mentioned. I don't know how this stuff works in terms of who can transfer, who can at this point. But Pavia would be somebody who he can win games in that conference. He's an exciting player to watch. Obviously, really good as an underdog. Where does this go? First of all, is there a betting angle for this? Tennessee at 8.5 wins for the books that have them up. Would you play the under, or is that not enough of a? You have to wait to see who the quarterback is, and where is this going ultimately? Is this ultimately going to be a situation where these teams have basically a salary cap and you give them contracts and they have to fulfill it? Where is this 3 years from now, 5 years from now?
Oh, well, where this is at in 5 years from now is that they're all employees, and then guys like Stetson Bennett are going to be back in college playing quarterback for Georgia. because like he can't make it to the NFL. But as far as this is concerned from a betting perspective, I don't think it's worth like jumping on anything. You said it. The guy wasn't great for Tennessee. I guess you assume some sort of natural progression in growth from a guy like that was very highly touted. But I also think that that is an offensive system which very much raises the floor of a quarterback. And that in that instance, if you're probably going to assume a baseline of production, then you're probably not freaking out too much about Tennessee.
Yeah. Have you looked at any college football win totals? To me, it's too early. If there's a time to get it, it's now. You don't want to sit here and play these things that can sometimes win by or move by a full win, especially in a college football market where you only play like 12, 13 games. But I don't know. With basketball going on, baseball, all the stuff that's going on, we just got done with college basketball, NBA. It's just hard for me to dive in and know where the value is this early in the process. How about you?
I would agree, especially like we're talking about getting into some of these spring games, seeing these teams for the first time. Like spring practices are just getting started. You're getting fringe quarterback battles. The only example, because I follow them, is out here obviously for UNLV, where you have a brand new regime and brand new quarterbacks, and you have no idea who's going to win that job. You have teams, and you talk to people, you assume guys are going to win the job, and you have no idea. And then all of a sudden, you have a guy win a job, and then 3 weeks in leaves because of NIL issues, as we saw with UNLV just this last summer. So who the hell knows what you're going to do? And I'm with you. I know that everybody wants to act like they're Superman. Man, I only got so much bandwidth.
Yeah.
Like I was telling Tim Murray the other day, dude, the draft is like what, 2 weeks away, a week away? Like what? I've got barely anything in this draft, and you got to get started for that too. So no, thank you. College, I'll leave that to Paul Stone.
It is certainly snuck up. Yeah, I mean, what's the saying? Jack of all trades, master of none. I mean, there's Wes Reynolds is great. I mean, there's a lot of guys at the network that really are just so versatile. It's actually super, super impressive. But to sit here and be an expert in college football in April is really tough. I did add a draft bet. I haven't had much. I'm like you. I basically bet nothing until the last week or so. I took the Raiders to draft a defensive lineman with their first pick, 10-1.
Like it.
I'm of the belief that Genty, who's minus 150 to go to the Raiders, that they will not pick Genty. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you don't have to leave it at that. I would like to have more analysis on it. Maybe you know something. I would tend to agree.
I mean, you never know with this stuff. You never know if what you hear second, third, fourth hand is the truth, which you get something that you think is great information. Well, it's not true. They were blowing smoke. You never know, but I'm of the belief that they're not going to take him.
I'm going to be interested in see what they do there at number 6, because every single media member here that covers the team would tell you that's what they're going to do. And I think that it is a franchise and a team that could convince itself, like it does every year, that they are like a piece away from being adequate, which I think is absolutely the wrong way to handle it. Having said that, what I think is a very interesting dynamic, which might be in the direction where you're going here, or at least it'd be part of it. You have a GM who, by many accounts, is a very forward-thinking, smart, analytical mind who very much values positional value. John Spytek, if you're thinking in that range, would not use the 6th overall pick on a running back that is not going to make your team immensely better, and instead would use it on a key position like a defensive lineman or maybe even a quarterback, because, again, you just signed Geno Smith, but guess what? You can get out of that contract in 2 years. It's not that big of a deal. It's front-loaded. You can move on relatively quickly from Geno Smith should you need to, and you don't have anybody that's in the future. I would agree with the general premise, like, betting the no on would they draft a running back or going in another direction, I think would make a lot more sense. So we'll see if that's going to be the case. You know what else I find interesting? There are many people who are making the case that because the Giants had signed both Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, that, hey, now they're not going to use a first-round pick on a quarterback. But now we watch the Browns sign Joe Flacco, and they trade for Kenny Pickett. But some of the same people are still like, no, they could totally take a quarterback still. It's like, well, wait a minute. Why? What's the difference here? There's not a difference. Yeah. I think that you can still totally do it. Now, maybe it's a sign that none of these teams really buy into the 2 quarterbacks that are available, whether it be Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, that is going to be there at their respective picks. But I still think a team like Cleveland and New York could still be in that market. But it is interesting that the 2 teams that could be in the market for a quarterback near the top of the draft have both acquired 2 quarterbacks here in the offseason.
Do you change? Does anything change in your mind with Carr possibly not being available for the season? Does that make the Saints much more likely to pick Sanders or pick a quarterback in general?
I mean, I think that I don't think so, because I think that they were actually one of those sneaky teams that were very likely if Shedeur was going to be available to them. They got nothing. Derek Carr's not a great quarterback. Their roster is somewhat old at very key positions. Like, you've got to do something here. And I think that was going to make all the sense in the world for them to draft a quarterback, regardless of Derek Carr now being injured and potentially unavailable. So, I mean, maybe it slightly increases what I already thought was a high probability. So I think the answer to your question would just basically be yes. But I think that was a sneaky team that was going to be in contention for one of these guys regardless.
So what someone told me, he said, my buddy in the league, so this is, again, third-hand information.
Buddy in the league.
He said he thought that Sanders would go 9th to the Saints or 21st to the Steelers.
Sure.
Take that for what it's worth.
All right, that makes sense. I mean, to me, what take that for what it's worth is premises, and this has been kind of the thought in the league coming out, is that these quarterbacks are going to – this quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, is potentially going to slip farther than – I think most initially projected when we were starting draft conversations. I think the real question now becomes quarterback total of 2.5. Where we go with the total quarterbacks in the first round. I like to play that under every single year. It has gone over 7 of the 9 years we have had draft betting or whatever it is, and we had to go over last year, and I'd be right back to betting that thing under again because I don't believe in the Jackson Dart stuff, but maybe I get burned 2 years in a row.
And the other thing, and this ties back to Genty, there's so many good running backs. Do you really need to take one with they have the 5th or 6th pick in the draft? You probably don't. And there's starting to be some real momentum with how good Gibbs was last year, with and where he went, with how good Barkley was. Could you get a second, third running back in the first round? That's been some buzz here the last week or so.
Look, running back is a luxury pick. And if you're a team that is very good, you can take the luxury of adding a piece like that to your roster. But we have seen time and time again, I was using the example, the Panthers with Christian McCaffrey, the Giants with Saquon Barkley, using those high picks on those guys did not make their teams better. They succeeded nothing with those guys. It's not any of their fault, but I just don't think it's very much worth it. It's a luxury selection. And it's a luxury to be able to stay here where I'm sitting right now, the D or Circa, or maybe even Golden Gate across the way. You can book now and save 15% off at any of these wonderful establishments if you use the promo code VSIN15 at circalasvegas.com. Book now. Save 50% off. Use a promo code VSIN15. A missed putt for Justin Rose. He's dead to me. I'm done. McIlroy still with a 4-stroke lead as we head into the final holes of today.
This is Live Bet Saturday on VSIN, the Sports Betting Network.
B and Bryson stands for birdie, and he gets one here. So the lead for Rory McIlroy dwindles to just 3 strokes. Both are through 16. 12 under par for Rory McIlroy. Bryson DeChambeau is at 9 under. If you're just joining us wondering how Rory McIlroy, the odds-on favorite to win the Masters at this point at minus 340, got to where he is, an eagle helping him, part of 2 eagles that he got in this round, to open up a 4-stroke lead that was eventually cut down to 3 by Bryson DeChambeau. We're watching Corey Connors. I believe he just missed a birdie putt. He's at 8 under through 16. And then you get into the top 4 where we're talking about Reed, Aberg, Rose, and others. I wanted to ask you, you are a sports degenerate, Will. You watch a lot. I think you're out and about right now. Will you watch the UFC card tonight?
Yeah, I'll watch some of it. There was a pause. You said you are, and then there was a giant pause. I didn't know where you were going with that. I'm glad it didn't go as badly as it could have gone. But yeah, I'll watch some of it. I won't watch like every second of it, but I'll watch some of that. Watch some of the baseball, but I'll have it on.
I was trying to think of a proper and poetic, flowery term for somebody who watches a lot of sports and enjoys them. And sport degenerate, I think, is appropriate.
You're a wordsmith.
I try to be. Most of it spills out onto the page, but I don't have that much writing. I keep it all in here in a very private journal with all my most intimate thoughts that are strung together with language that I think is so beautiful it brings me to tears every time I read it. See, that's wordsmith play. None of that is true. None of that is true at all. But you know what I mean? Like that sounded beautiful, right? Sounded beautiful.
Your wife is very lucky.
Yeah, very lucky to deal with me on a day-to-day basis. Very true. Very true. All right, really quick, you mentioned baseball. Top of the hour quickly approacheth, and we do have a couple of games that are coming up. I wanted to ask you about Angels and Astros. This one's going to get started in about 30 minutes from now, a little bit over that. Out at what is now, what is it? It's not Minute Maid, it's Daikin Park? What is this? Either way.
Oh, that's news to me. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not. They took the oranges out of the little train and everything like that. It's an absolute nightmare. Yeah, I know. Come on now. But we do have Anderson getting the start for the Angels. So what have you made of the Halos up to this point? And is this a team that is a little bit more competent than what the market's given it credit for? I've made the case for this team, especially on offense, for that to be the case. But I'm not sure that I want to dive in after getting burned yesterday. But still, it's a team that's in top 10 in terms of weighted runs created plus and has done a pretty good job at the plate.
Yeah, and formerly Minute Maid Park also, I don't know if you remember, it used to be Enron Field, I think it was, back before that.
Did something happen with Enron? That sounds familiar.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think it was a big deal, whatever it was. I don't know that there's value on them. I completely agree, just in general, that they're a play-on team and there's value on them. And we were just talking earlier in the show that, man, they had a chance last night. 2-1, fifth inning, 2 out, nobody on. A little ground ball to third. Play isn't made. Infield single. Next thing you know, there's like 6 or 7 runs on the board. Just completely opened the floodgates, going from almost having a 1-2-3 inning to losing the game. But as far as tonight, at plus 136 on the road here, I know Anderson's been pretty good, but last year I was looking at his numbers, and to me, he really outpitched his metrics.
Yes.
Where he kind of danced between the raindrops, and he was a regression candidate. So, long story short, I'm not looking to play on Anaheim tonight. I don't have any play in this game. Do you think plus 136 or so is a playable number?
So that's for this game. I think I'd rather lean a little bit over here as opposed to betting Anderson and this Angels team to win this game, because you mentioned it. I like the term dancing through raindrops. He was getting away with a lot of stuff last year, and we're starting to see it a little bit here in the 2 starts that he has made up to this point. He's allowed 5 earned runs, has been taken deep 3 times. He's got a 9-6 strikeout to walk ratio. You're kind of starting to see the true Tyler Anderson in these first 2 outings. He also doesn't pitch for long.
Yeah.
Like, he only gave you 5 innings in each of the 2 starts. So far through 2 starts, 4.50 ERA, but a 7.18 fielding independent. The xFIP's at 5.74. I think this is a guy that is probably going to be pretty below average over the course of this year. Ultimately, I think what's going to be the biggest issue for the Halos is going to be their pitching, especially the starting rotation outside of 2 guys. And so maybe you get the offensive support for him against Ryan Gusto, a guy that we don't really know too much about up to this point. We've only seen 4 appearances in 8 innings, and so far it's been fine, and he's not going to pitch for long. So then you're going to face this bullpen of the Astros, which has been okay. But maybe you get this thing over the total, but I just don't trust Anderson. And I think getting this thing over, it's like minus 122 or so. I thought that was the play here today, as opposed to backing an Angels team. And that's my way of backing them from the standpoint of thinking they're a little feisty and better than expected, is maybe betting this game over the total, or maybe even a run line over the total potentially if you wanted to, or not a run line, excuse me, total runs over if you wanted to go that way with the Angels tonight.
Yeah, Astros team total 4.5. By the way, the Braves did just tie the game, so we are 3-3 in that game.
There we go.
You ever want to say important game here on April 13th?
It's an important
game. It is, but you don't want to get these losses to pile up, and that's one if they can come back and win. Maybe that's a turning point with them. So keep an eye on that. Would you look at a first 5 total? As I'm pulling it up here now that we're talking about this. Probably around 2.5 here for the over for the Astros if you're looking to fade Anderson.
I think that's a really good way to put it, and I really like betting these first 5s. I really enjoy betting these first 5 team totals as well. Like, again, just really getting this down to team versus pitcher and what that's going to look like. And I think that's something that I would definitely want to add. That's actually a really good angle that I'll add too, because I think that's something that is a really fun angle to bet with a lot of these. Again, you don't have to sweat it out for long. You boil down your handicap to 1 pitcher versus 1 lineup, and you think maybe whether or not this team can actually do it. And I think the Astros are capable of doing that. So it's a good point out there too. I wanted to point out too really quickly, because you had this note when we were talking about this, the over angle in Sacramento doesn't seem to be the case today. I say doesn't seem to be because we are top of the 9th inning with just 4 runs scored. Market, remember, this opened 9.5 down to 9. This got started right when we came on the air, and so far it is 3-1. So the Sacramento angle, maybe those who are on the over train are finally going to start to get burned here. Maybe not, but right now it's a low-scoring affair. It's going to be interesting to see how this expands out in a larger sample size. But I've been very much on the side of, well, let's see the sample size expand before we just say that this thing's going to go be an overplay every single time the Athletics play out there in Sacramento.
So what did we start with? 5 overs in a row to start the season, and this would be 2 out of 3 unders. So, again, doesn't mean if you're onto something with the over, just because you lose 2 out of 3, that's a small sample size too. I was of the opinion, you know what? I didn't bet it the first game, the second game. I'm not going to be I don't want to be the last guy in line at the buffet. That's usually not a good way to approach betting. If you're not ahead of something, it's I don't really subscribe to the better late than never theory. It's just, you know what, if I miss the boat, I miss the boat. So it's been a wait and see thing for me. So it is as good as somebody, and we go through this, is better. So just the FOMO, the psychological thing of, I have no bets on this game, but you're rooting for the under just because you don't want to feel left out of the over. It's a strange thought process, but it's something we all go through as bettors.
No, dude, that's absolutely it. So, like I like to say with some of these trends, you know, if you're somebody who has been there since day one, you can afford to take the lumps because you've built it up because you've been betting it. But if you're not somebody who has, and you dove in today and you've been reading like, oh, man, these overs, this has been great. And then now you're sitting here like, dude, it's 3-1 at the top of the ninth. What's happening? Like, this sucks. Maybe all these people are idiots. No, like if you're betting it, then you keep doing it until you get to even or there's a clear adjustment, which, by the way, as we noted today, there was. This opened 9.5. So there has been a market adjustment, and those that shape the market bet that 9.5 under, and we're sitting right now with an under at this point too. So I'm very
interested. Looks like a final, by the way, 3-1. The A's do win the game.
All right. Real quick, I did miss this on the scoreboard. This is going to get started in the next 2 minutes. Did you have anything real quick on Pirates Reds? Heaney's going to get the start. He's been off to a pretty good start for the Pirates so far this year. Abbott is going to oppose him. Reds are about $1.25 favorite at home.
Reds not great against lefties. De La Cruz can hit lefties, but the rest of the lineup is shaky. That being said, do I have a stomach to back the Pirates here at a short number? Probably not. If I had to play anything, I would play first 5 under. That Pirates lineup, geez. They're losing game skiing starts. If you're losing game skiing starts, I mean, you're looking at like a 68, 70 win season. I think things are dire for Pittsburgh. They got Joey Bart hitting cleanup in these games, geez. I would look towards the under first 5, if anything.
Heen Dog through 2 starts, by the way, 150 ERA and a 148 fielding independent. We'll get more on baseball. We're getting some breaking news. This is what we were waiting for, Will. Injury reports are out. Fred VanVleet, not listed on the injury report for Sunday. Alperen Şengün, not listed on the injury report for Sunday.
Ooh.
So we're starting to see whether or not, the question was, will the Rockets play their guys tomorrow against Denver? They had not played their starters for over a week, and it seems that they are going to have their guys out there on the floor. We're waiting for some other names, Amen Thompson among them, but right now, Fred VanVleet, Alperen Şengün, not listed on the initial injury report for the Houston Rockets. How's that make you feel?
Let me ask you, from a game theory standpoint, do you want to win this game if you're the Rockets and push Denver to the 7? Not that you can completely pick your opponent, but if you're coaching the Rockets, and maybe we can continue this on the other side, how are you handling this? Forget the aspect of, hey, I got to get my guys some run here. I got to get them some minutes. From a who you want to play perspective, I think this is a fascinating decision here for Houston. Aside from the obvious of, I don't want to go into next Saturday, Sunday when the playoffs start, having not played in 2 weeks.
That, I think it's, well, you're right. Let's answer this on the other side because I do want to tell our folks about something special here. But I do think there is an answer to this. But our something special is our summer special. So get everything we do through August 1st. Go to $59 and get everything until then. The betting splits, awesome. You get them from Circa. You get them from DraftKings. The expert analysis. We're going to have our series previews for the NBA coming up here in the next few days and more. So go to vsin.com/subscribe. Check it out now. Question of the day. Will the Houston Rockets play their guys? The answer is yes. Well, who do they want? We'll answer that when we come back.
This is Live Bet Saturday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
So we have some notable updates in the association as the injury reports are finally starting to be clarified here for the final game of the regular season. Not every team has submitted an official injury report yet, but one of the big questions was Houston Rockets. Would they play their guys in the finale? They have nothing to play for. However, they have not played their starters since they beat the Golden State Warriors last Sunday. Answer is full go for the Rockets. Only one player listed on the injury report. Jae'Sean Tate is out with ankle soreness, so they will give this a go. Now, Will, obvious caveat here, they will play. Will they play only the first half? Will they play only the first quarter? Will they just play the entire game and try to beat Denver? Because, as you mentioned, one of the things at stake here is that they can play a hand in pushing Denver down the standings. That's going to be the real question of what is going to happen. And do you want to push Denver with the thought of potentially getting a team out of that play-in scenario that you don't want to face? Do you want to increase the chances that you face Denver if you feel like you've got something there? I don't think the problem with logic like this is that there are so many moving pieces that you don't play a direct role in the actual outcome, right? Like if it was Denver loses, this happens, and then they win, this happens, and it's one of two things. It's a binary deal. All right, cool. But, like, you beat them, then you also need the Warriors to lose, whatever it is. So I don't know if there's particular motivation outside of making sure your guys get some run so they don't have 2 whole weeks off before they play a playoff basketball game.
I've attacked these permutations, and there's a lot of them. There's the point where you could just look at this stuff all day, and it does get confusing. I've looked at this with just an assumption that Minnesota beats Utah and Denver is going to beat Houston, partially because Houston hasn't played their guys in a while, and I didn't really expect them to play them. I guess I miscalculated there. Take us through if Houston somehow wins the game, which this game is in Denver, right?
This game is in Denver, yes. Let me double check. My brain is mush today.
So they're still going to be a dog. Denver's still going to be more motivated. Houston's
no, excuse me. So this is in Houston. This is in Houston.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what does this mean if Houston wins? What is the most likely outcome? And let's just say Ime Udoka gets your number somehow. He texts me. I give it to him, and he says, "JVT, I don't know what to do. How should I handle this here on Sunday?" What do you tell him?
All right. So Nuggets clinch the 4 seed with a win. They can drop to as low as 6th with a loss. So the Nuggets are into the postseason. The question is, are they 4? Are they 5? Are they 6? So they lose that game. That's where we get into the other scenarios here. So they lose. Clippers win. The Clippers are the 4 seed. And then, okay, so Clippers win. There you go. If the Nuggets lose and the Warriors win, then the Warriors can get as high as 4, I believe. That is the case here. So, again, like, I can't tell you. I don't know. Like, to be quite honest with you, I don't know. There's so much that is going on in this that we don't know. Because, remember, the Wolves can finish as high as 4th because they can win. And then I assume if Denver loses that you're going to leap up into that status as well. And then that ties into the Clippers-Warriors status too. So, actually, let me pull below the 8 for a second because there is a spreadsheet I can look at for a second.
Yeah, it's almost like trying to get every combination of a 5-team parlay. Let me just try to game the system where I'm automatically going to hit this 5. Well, you're going to come up with so many different combinations that it's hard to wrap your head around. All the different possibilities here.
All right, so here we go. Houston. Now, there's obviously many scenarios in which Houston wins and everything else happens. So let's just roll through these really quickly to an extent. I will, for the sake of this exercise, eliminate the scenarios in which Utah beats Minnesota as a 20-point favorite, 22-point favorite. Is that fair? I think that's fair, right? So we'll eliminate those. So Houston wins, Memphis wins, Minnesota wins, and the Clippers win. That would give you the Clippers as the 4, the Timberwolves as the 5, the Nuggets would be the 6, the Warriors would host Memphis in the first play-in game. They would be the 7. If we go through that same scenario, so Houston, Memphis, Minnesota all winning, but Golden State beats the Clippers, then you would have Minnesota as the 4, the Clippers as the 5, the Warriors as the 6, and then Denver as the 7 in the play-in playing host to Memphis. So there are scenarios in which Denver falls down to that 7-seed range. We should also note that I did misspeak. The highest the Warriors can finish is the 6th seed. That is their ceiling at this point. So it really just comes down to how high the Clippers and the Timberwolves can finish. I will say, looking at this spreadsheet, in all the scenarios in which Houston wins, 2 of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In 2 of the 9 different scenarios is when Minnesota is the 4 seed. The Clippers, the vast majority of the time there, are the number 4 seed. Obviously, that ties into them. But there's also a scenario in which, of course, the Clippers can actually lose to Golden State and still be the 4 seed, but they would need Utah to win that game against the Timberwolves.
You have not talked about this. We both like the under, but who wins? Clippers, Warriors. The game of the day, the game that's going to swing a lot of this. Who do you think wins?
Look, I mean, I believe in this Clippers team to the extent that you can. Like, I think that they're playing extremely well. They're a very good defensive team. They have Kawhi Leonard playing what seems to be near the peak of his powers, at least as much as he can be at this time of year and at this point of his career. Steph Curry, we should note, too, that's also the other big note from the injury reports that were just released.
Yes.
Steph Curry is officially questionable for tomorrow against the Los Angeles Clippers, so that will also affect things. For those who did not see it yesterday, he banged his thumb on the knee of a defender. He got that wrapped up, did end up finishing the game, but still is questionable with the thumb, so that also ties into this. But given everything in a vacuum, even if Curry plays, I believe enough in Golden State that I think that, or excuse me, Freudian slip, in the Clippers, that I think they win that game on the road.
Definitely wouldn't lay it. I like the under more than anything, but I think it's a toss-up game even with home court. I have a hard time going against Curry. Just like Curry at home, I don't know. I would take the Clippers plus the 4, though, for sure.
Let me do this, too, because we can whittle this down a little bit even more, right, in terms of probabilities, because we know that Dallas is also resting all of their guys against Memphis. So highly likely that Memphis is going to win. So then it gets you down to, essentially we'll boil this down to, we can really boil this down, right? So if we rule out Dallas winning that game and we rule out Utah winning that game, it gets you down to these two scenarios. Houston wins, Memphis wins, Minnesota wins. The Clippers win. It's Clippers, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Warriors, Grizzlies in the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If the Warriors win, then it's Minnesota, Clippers, Warriors, Denver, and Memphis. So given what this looks like right now, if the probabilities play out how we expect them to, depending on the result, Denver is finishing either 6 or 7 if Houston wins that game.
Either way, we are looking at some awesome series in the West. I'm sure the NBA is licking their lips. They probably wanted a round later. But a Warriors-Lakers first-round series, like Minnesota versus Denver, revenge from the bubble, that's a competitive series. Even Clippers versus, Clippers, Nuggets, Clippers, T-Wolves. I mean, you can't get bad series. Okay, Memphis probably don't give much of a chance. But to me, you're looking at some really, really compelling series in this Western Conference.
Yep. So it seems likely we could get Clippers and T-Wolves as a 4-5 matchup. So that'll be freaking great. The Lakers likely getting one of Denver or Golden State in that first-round matchup. Houston would get one of Golden State or Denver in that first-round matchup. And then Memphis would be led to slaughter against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah, rematch of last year, round one. Those teams met in the first round last year, I believe. Of all the possible matchups, what is one where you project a certain line or you expect a certain line and you're just, I hope this is the matchup. I'm going to be cutting in line to make this bet. Is there one?
Really quickly, Thunder eliminated the Pelicans in the first round last year.
Oh, it's Pelicans.
Yes,
okay, yeah.
Grizzlies did miss out on the postseason last year. Is there one I would run to go and bet?
Is there one where you just have if it's the Lakers versus the Warriors, I'm definitely betting this team. Or if it's the Nuggets versus the Clippers, I'm definitely betting. Is there one where you can anticipate a matchup, a line? Maybe there's not, but is there one where you anticipate it and you're going to be expecting to make a big bet, or you think that this is fairly wide open?
I think this answers your question. I think that the Warriors would be a tough matchup for the Lakers. I want to go back and rewatch those games, but I think given the fact that they have Draymond and Jimmy Butler, the ability to guard those two big wings, and with a Gary Payton type or somebody else to follow and hound a guy like Austin Reeves around, I think that's a matchup that could work in favor of Golden State if Curry is healthy with that thumb. So I don't know if that particularly answers your question, running to make a big bet.
Yeah.
But I do think that I would like the Warriors in that series, given a little bit more research, and I think that I would take a small underdog price on the Warriors to win that series.
That's my next question. What's that series price? If it's Lakers hosting the Warriors,
Lakers will be favored.
Lakers minus 170 or something?
Yeah, it should be under. Yeah, it'll be under $2. It'll be tight, maybe priced in the range of this Pacers series, a little bit less, maybe $1.65, but it should be in that range. It should be tight, but who knows? I mean, the market really likes both these teams. So if the Warriors go stumbling in to the postseason, maybe people aren't really going to like that. All right, coming up next, folks, Live Bet Saturday resumes. Scott Seidenberg will take you the rest of the way, and then at 11 p.m., Cash and Out, followed by the VSiN Weekend Morning Line and Ready, Set, Bet tomorrow at 1 p.m. A fantastic schedule of programming. Remember, go to VSiN.com, sign up for the summer special as well. At VSiN.com, folks, everything we do under $60 all the way until August 1st. We'll enjoy tomorrow. I'm sure we'll be texting about it. Thank you very much as always, and we will see you next time here on Live Bet Saturday.